Welcome to FinOps in Action. I'm your host, Alon Arvatz. Each week, I'll sit down with FinOps experts to explore the toughest challenges between FinOps and engineering. This show is brought to you by Point 5, empowering teams to optimize cloud costs with deep detection and remediation tools that drive action. Hello, everyone. Today we have a really exciting episode, not only because we have great guests, but also today we don't have only one, but two guests, which means double the fun. And the first one worked at Aflac. She led cloud migration with an 85-member team and over $50 million of budget. She's a black belt in Lean Six Sigma. For those of you who follow, you should know by now what is Lean Six Sigma. And today she's Senior Director of Enterprise Architecture and Strategy. Hello, Fabry. Good to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy to be here.
And alongside Polly, we have a very, very interesting FinOps leader with over 20 years of experience in infrastructure and FinOps. We actually share the same passions around efficiency and optimization. I'm happy to welcome Prasshant Sharrma, Global FinOps Lead at Sysco. Prasshant, good to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
And let's get straight to business. So, Polly, what do you think should be the FinOps practice top priority?
I think for Sysco and the work that we are doing, it's really around transparency and making sure that our application teams and our stakeholders understand the financial impact of the work that they are doing.
And Prashan, what is your perspective on this topic? What should be the top priority?
Yeah, I completely agree with Polly what she said, because last year the teams and the business leaders, they did not realize it was an overspend for our cloud budget. So we started talking to them, and we are trying to, develop a culture and a mindset so that everyone understands FinOps. Having said this, FinOps is going to be everyone's responsibility at Sysco.
For sure. And we'll talk about that in a moment, but I actually want to double down on the word transparency. And I want to understand, what do you mean by that? Like, what data should be exposed to whom? Who doesn't have transparency today? And what you as a FinOps leaders need to do to create more transparency?
Yeah, so I'll start with that, and Prasshant, please feel free to jump in. Previously at Sysco, our application teams had absolutely no visibility to what they were spending. All of the budget was held in a central location under infrastructure and operations. And while that seems like a great way in theory to have all of the costs controlled by a central organization, it hid what our application teams were spending. So think, it's basically you've got an open purse string. You can spend and spend and spend and provision, and there's no consequences, and there's no accountability for it. So it's really, it started out as a showback to show to our application teams and our technology leadership team, this is what you guys are spending. This is how much cloud is costing for you. And then once we got them to understand what that looks like, the next step was chargeback. So that is the model that we started in FY25, and our fiscal year started July of last year. So we're just about done with FY25. And amazing how cloud optimization and cost containment becomes an important part of those leaders' repertoire when they're responsible for the budget. So you see a significant change in the cloud spend because now they feel it, right? It's real to them. It's not like like my dad has the money and he gave me my allowance so I can just go spend it. It's mine. I'm responsible for it. I'm accountable for it. And if I'm not fiscally responsible, then my boss is going to come after me. So it really, it changed the mindset of the way our application teams work and the way that they build their applications, the way they manage their space. It really made them a lot more fiscally responsible.
And Prashan, I know that very often you're the person going in front of the engineers to work constantly with them. With this transition from showback to chargeback, did you experience any pushbacks, and how did you handle it?
Yes, of course. We did not have a culture, as I mentioned earlier. So we wanted to, build that networking, that relationship with the business leaders. We have important space in engineering and in business, I would say. For example, supply chain, commercial tech. And Polly also mentioned there was only least interest to see what is my cloud spend and how I am going to take those actions. We were presenting the recommendations in terms of the low hanging fruit, but the actions were not taken. So what we started doing, we started understanding their businesses. We have set up a monthly cadence with all the business leaders, and we were making sure we meet with them and talk to them about the business. So that was our first strategy, to understand them as a person. And we also talked about life. It was not about the FinOps initially. Then they started opening up. And we actually gave them the proposal. Hey, these are the low hanging fruits. We can help you to manage your cloud cost. So they started opening up, and they asked about the structured approaches, how we can reduce our cloud spend, which is definitely negatively impacting our performance, and financial accountability. There was not a culture of accountability. So we kind of instilled that in every business, and they started understanding how to take the ownership of the cloud cost. So right now we are doing the annual growth planning, and we see that culture. We see that sentiment, is flowing, and we already started doing some work for the showback. Now we are doing the chargeback projects, right? We started talking about the chargeback projects. Technically also, we have a roadmap until FY27, how we are going to implement that chargeback. Having said this, we started doing the split for all the business leaders. We are giving some trainings to the teams, to engineering teams, to improve cost awareness, hand-holding towards the annual growth planning. And that comes, with the win-win situation, basically. So this is giving us the visibility and transparency.
So if I'm trying to break down what you said, Prashant, and I hope I'm not missing anything, you focused on personal relationships, not only talking business and technology. You create a certain routine with the teams to make sure there is a repetitive, consistent, drive towards cost efficiency. You enable them. So you provide with recommendations and tools, I assume, maybe, to help them understand what they can do and what they're accountable for. And you also created educational sessions to make sure they know how to do it, basically. Is that your secret formula for changing behavior? Or is there
Yes.
anything we missed?
It's
Yes or no?
I yeah, I would say honestly though, having their leadership team own the budgets and again, it's not financial magic or organizational change management. It's putting the responsibility and the accountability on the teams that are spending the money, right? I mean, that was really what it took to get people to pay attention. And then once they are paying attention, then the training and Prashant's leadership and the constant reinforcement and the tools and all of the other things that we give them in order to manage these budgets, they're actively engaged with it now because they've got their skin in the game.
So would you say that your secret sauce is actually to do it top down rather than bottom up?
Absolutely. It does not work bottom up. It's very, very hard. It's got to come as a mandate from the top. Especially because remember, we're in a completely separate organization. So me trying to tell someone in another team how to do their job or what's important or what their priority is doesn't go over quite as well as when it comes from their leadership team.
And can you add a bit more color to that? What does it mean top down? Because I know that many FinOps practitioners actually struggle with that. How to get the executive team engaged, how to get leadership involved. How did you do it? Did you start from the CTO, the CIO? You started from the CEO?
We went to the CIDO. We went right to the tippy top, right? So we went to Tom Peck, who was our CIDO. We kind of brought our case to him. Hey, cloud spend is out of control. Your leadership team doesn't understand their spend. They don't see it at all. So they don't necessarily, I don't want to say they don't care, but they don't have an incentive or a motivation to care about it. So we really need them to care. So again, we started with showback. We started with monthly reports, with meeting with the TLT leadership team so they could see it. And then we, at the end of FY24, we went back and said, hey, listen, we're going to transfer budget. You guys are going to own this. You're going to manage it. And it came from our CIDO. So there wasn't really any kind of an argument or pushback. And I think, honestly, now that we're kind of 9-10 months into it, they're happier that they feel like they have a little more control over it, and they have that visibility, because the thing is when our budgets are off and we have to take from other projects and things like that, it does ultimately impact the entire organization. So this is really a great way to help them be accountable for all of our IT spend, and it does give them the visibility they need.
That's actually fascinating. I'm also fascinated by the transition you did from showback to chargeback. So I wonder if that was like an aware decision to start with showback because it's either easier and eventually move to chargeback, or you just, you said,
You gotta start
okay,
somewhere, and it's kind of like spoon feeding them, right? They need to understand, like, this is what y'all are spending. This is what it looks like. Prasshant did a really good job of meeting one-on-one every month to show these guys, this is what you're spending. Hey, here's opportunities for you guys to save. Did you know that you should get a reserved instance and you can save X amount of dollars? Or, you should be in the savings plan. So there's all kinds of, little nuggets that we can feed to them, that if they're not seeing that show back, they don't really see the benefit of it. And then once we did the chargeback, those optimization efforts are even more well received, because now they've got a vested interest in trying to bring those costs down and more in line.
And Prashant, how did it go? Meeting with them one by one. It sounds like a pretty tedious work.
No, it was a fun. In fact, I really take a passion to talk to people. Initially, I didn't get time in their calendars, but whenever I met with them in the lift, I said hello and introduced uh, myself to them. And then the next meeting, I tried to secure some time with them. So like after two, 3 attempts, it really started going in the right direction. As a result of which, I made sure that we should have a customized focus for each of the business towers. And as a result of which, as I mentioned earlier, we had a monthly cadence. We actually had set up a process of interviews. So physically going to talk to the people whenever we are in office, we make sure I'm actually meeting with the top leaders every day and learning about their challenges and their business goals. So what evolved as a result of this, we started a project last year called as Project Helios. We identified top 5 to 7 optimization levers. For example, reserved instances, savings plan, ideal databases, auto parking, spot instances, S3 optimization. And we did some kind of categorization. These are our quick wins. And if you can help to drive these initiatives, the low hanging fruits, we can definitely tie in these results in your cloud bills. So this is how we started. We had a clear execution plan what we are going to do, and when the certain things were flowing from the top leadership, then engineers started taking action. So we saved a few millions of dollars, and this journey continues. Now we are on the journey to automate few of our manual tasks this year, to go back into the chargeback model, do our tools rationalization, and we are doing the FinOps assessment. And FY28, we are looking a future ahead. We will be delving into the AI capabilities also and build FinOps capabilities in a Snowflake.
That's actually fascinating. And Prashant, I wonder, you talk a lot about enablement. Do you also feel responsible to also provide or find the tooling for engineers to enable them to do everything you're talking about?
Yes, we have few tools. We have our homegrown tool over here at Cisco, and that tool is really effective. We do some kind of gamification for all the teams. So that also, keep everyone on their toes. And it is actually a very good tool. And we are very proud what we built in-house.
And is there also a Hall of Fame?
There is. No, I one of the things I will say is our CIDO has been, he's been really good about supporting. We tried to gamify, right? So our technology leadership team, these guys are all insanely competitive with one another. So no one wants to be like the last horse in the race. So we gamify this so that we make it kind of fun, but it's also a competition. And again, these guys are all very competitive with one another. Nobody wants to be in last place. So it does help push them.
And are there any rewards or ceremonies? How do you gamify it?
Well, someone suggested we get like a light up cloud or something. We haven't done that yet. But I think that would be cute, right? We get a light up cloud, and whoever wins for the month gets to keep it on their desk or in their office. So
But our CIDO Tom Pack, he highlights this. This is called as cloud score, and he highlights which team actually won the competition. Uh, we'll be doing specifically some fin hacks, not this year, but next year. So we will see, if the team really understands the FinOps enablement, the framework, the cultural environment, for FinOps.
yeah, I mean it's more of a cultural change than anything, right? I mean the knowledge is there. It's just getting people to use it and to leverage it. And one thing I will say, I mean, it is a lot of work for Prasshant to meet with all these leaders, but building those relationships has been key. And I'll give you a good example. Up until Prasshant personally met with our CISO, who did not want to participate in any kind of gamification or optimization or any of this stuff. He was very standoffish, didn't come to anything. His leadership team did not come to anything. And he was in our headquarters here, and Prasshant had an opportunity. I'm not going to say you cornered him in his office, but he had an opportunity to talk to him. And I will tell you, it's been a significant turnaround in the engagement we've had from that organization. So cybersecurity kind of tends to say everything is a mandate. Do what I tell you to do, and leave me alone. And so this was a way for them to kind of come to us. They actually updated their forecast and they're participating in reviews. And I credit all of that to Prasshant actually having a conversation with our CISO and really kind of convincing him that, hey, this is the right thing to do. This is what we want to do. This works out well for all of us. The more financially viable and budget we have within our CADO spend, that benefits all of our organization, right? Those are projects we can do. That's the innovation work that we want to do. It gives us the freedom to hire the people we need to hire. So it really does help everybody. And I think getting folks to see that has been an amazing thing to watch.
And that makes total sense. I wouldn't want to meet Prashant in a dark corner.
Sometimes you just have to hunt people down to get them to participate.
Yeah.
You definitely can't give up.
For sure. And you all know that I have a background in security, actually. So I'm always.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. My previous startup, Insights, was in cybersecurity. So I'm always curious about the differences between security and FinOps. And like you said, many or very often in security, you have things that you just have to do.
It's a mandate. Yeah.
Just mandate. And FinOps is a bit different. Would you say that FinOps requires a different approach and maybe different people than security?
I would say so, yes. I would say and I think this is probably why Prasshant is more suited for this, right? He's got a consultative background. You kind of, you're not a salesman, but you do have to provide that consultation and you have to nurture the team. It's building those relationships. It's a gentler, maybe white glove approach where cybersecurity kind of comes in with a hammer. It is a different approach. One thing I will say, and this is a testament to how important this is to Sysco, is we've got our board of directors meeting going on today. FinOps is one of the topics of conversation. I mean, this is amazing that it's part of it's part of what we're sharing with our board as our strategic roadmap for the next, 3 to 5 years. So that's great. And it's once something goes to the board, Prasshant, no pressure, but you can't script it. Because it's once the board has it, that's it, you're set. But it's also great because then you've got that backing and support really from the highest level.
That's incredible. I have to tell you, I started my security startup in 2015. And back then, they started conversations about CISOs getting in front of the board of director. And it's just amazing to hear the same thing now with FinOps, but FinOps is becoming a topic that is now being in front of the board. And I'm curious, when you get in front of the board, what do you present? What do you focus on?
Well, I'll tell you what, Prasshant helped build the deck that our CTO is sharing for the board. But I mean, basically, it was a little bit of everything, right? We give them where were we, where are we going, what's the next 3 to 5 years look like, really kind of that high level roadmap. And then we give them a sampling of the monthly savings that we're able to see. So the board is always they love the numbers, they love to see the savings, they love to see the cost outtake. But it's also, this FinOps is wrapped into our resilient compute and our operational excellence. So it's really the way we operate as a company, fiscally responsible with the best technology. And we are resilient because we are using the best technology, the best hosting environments. We're making sure we don't have the technical debt that's dragging everything else down, right? And all of that is wrapped around FinOps. And so for us, it neatly fits into two categories that we have in every board meeting. There's always an update on our operational excellence and our resilient compute, and FinOps fits nicely in both of those spaces.
That's great. And did you personally go to the board to present?
Our CTO did. And I'm
Your
okay
CTO.
with that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay. Prashant, was it stressful when he went to the board to present FinOps program?
No, it was fun because we were very transparent and we know what we are doing. And we actually, we take this as a privilege, and we make sure that we give this, as a respect to the other businesses, do not haunting them all the time. So we are the good sheriffs here. We are not the bad cops. And simultaneously, we realized, I think every company, every industry is adopting FinOps. Why not Cisco? So this is the time. This is the time, to do FinOps and enable everyone at Cisco. Being a largest Fortune 50 company in the world, we should definitely have the practice. So as a result of which, Polly and I started a FinOps Center of Excellence, and that is being discussed today at the board meeting
Wow.
also.
Oh, wow. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really getting the impression that you're really focused on getting the executives and leadership engaged. First of all, it's the first time I hear someone talks about the importance of presenting to the board, or actually presenting to the board, especially with a huge company like Cisco. So that I think speak volumes to how focused you are on not only working directly with engineering folks, and sounds like Prashant is doing a lot of legwork to get in front of them, but also make sure that the people up there also understand the impact and what are the plans that you have in place.
Absolutely. And having that high level support as, again, top down is really important.
And we cannot forget our CTO efforts as well. Justin is helping us a lot to pick up, everything, and his support is really phenomenal. We appreciate his support as well. So we have, full support to operate, and we'll be talking at the FinOpsX also in June about these strategies. So Cisco, first time is attending that FinOps conference. Whoever is watching this podcast, please feel free to join our session. This will be on June 4th at 11 a.m.
That's great. I'll be there as well. And I want to actually talk a bit about a topic that I'm personally very passionate about, and that driving efficiency across the infrastructure. And you did talk or mention a few times the importance of identifying opportunities and low-hanging fruit and saving potential, etc. I wonder, when you talk about that, do you talk only on savings plans and RIs and commitments, or are you also referring to optimizing the infrastructure, like changing the usage patterns and the way the application developers actually use the infrastructure to actually become more efficient and reduce costs?
Yeah, that is our roadmap for this year.
Mhm.
And thank you very much for asking this question. So we will be doing focus this year. We have a plan to adopt focus as a specification to have more transparency, not in public cloud, but in private cloud as well. Polly and I, we are working with our one of our vendor, uh, Nutanix. So we are going to use their product, Nutanix Cost Manager. We'll do one proof of validation for their product, and we will go in private cloud, as well as once we grow our organization next year, we have a plan to look into the SaaS and licensing space as well. And
Mhm.
we understand the focus 1.2 specification will be released in June, and we are going to take an advantage of that. So we are definitely going to expand our scope as we grow.
Yeah, I was also going to say too, though, but we also have tools like Turbonomics, Park My Cloud. So we're being strategic about when we spin up hosting or compute resources, if it's something that can be turned off on the weekends, after hours, things like that. So we do try to be conscious of the cyclical nature of the applications and when workloads need to be available. Again, some of that is educating our application teams. People get nervous when they hear that their development environments are going to be turned off on the weekend. I'm like, it's okay. It'll be fine. It'll be there when you turn it back on. But yeah, I mean, it's really looking at all that. And one of the other things I'll just add on to what Prasshant was saying about really expanding this beyond the public cloud is that we want to make sure applications and workloads are placed in the best spot. Is that well architected review, right? It's not every application is a fit for the public cloud. Some just don't make sense. And so if they're better in an on-prem location that's more affordable and it's a better fit for the application and the work that it's doing, we should do that. And so we've got an initiative teed up for FY26 to look at repatriating workloads that are maybe they're static workloads and it's just a better fit for being in an on-prem private cloud. And then maybe we've got some things that are sitting on-prem right now that could leverage a lot of the native capabilities that you get with the cloud provider. So it's really finding that balance of putting the application in the place where it is going to be the most efficient, cost-effective, and provide the services and support that that application team needs.
And Polly, does that mean that you embed FinOps into the architecture phase of the application development?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny. So I was just met this afternoon with our new data architect, and one of the things he mentioned to me is that we really need to make sure that FinOps is wrapped into enterprise architecture so that we start before an application is even born. So we're thinking about that financial impact before we even begin the development. So, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think it's an awesome idea. So Prasshant, we're going to put you into that as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's, the sooner we can work with the application teams, the better, because it gets them comfortable and in the practice of thinking about cost before they even move something into a production environment.
So Prasshant, I guess you need to sharpen your architecture skills.
No, we are ready. We have a couple of resources. We are starting small, and few of them are very technical, including myself. We always, try to make sure that we are on the top. We are living our creeds, and we are very excited about the future. So there is one more thing that Polly mentioned: FinOps with data. So FinOps and observability will be our key actions this year because we are closely partnering with our data COE. They are doing some work on observability because they're trying to move few of the workloads from on-premises data feeds to Snowflake. So this partnership is definitely going to be an acme of excellence as well for FinOps.
And Prasshant, when you say observability, you mean observability to infrastructure performance or observability to data or something else?
Observability to data.
Data.
To our customers, yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And Prasshant, do you expect yourself to be part of architecture discussions?
I would love to. This was one of the things I always expressed to Polly. Polly, since I have architect skills also, if there is any opportunity, please let me know.
There will be, yes.
So we definitely, want to streamline and we want to definitely, look into each and every application as far as our well architect reviews are concerned. So that will be our goal. And this was something, a new development, which I didn't know, but thank you, Polly, for expressing this. Actually, this made our day.
That's great. That's great. I have to tell you, I really want to do another episode with you in a year from today. You have such an amazing plan.
We would love to do that. Yeah, I would love to see where we are in a year. I mean, in a year, I expect we're doing FinOps and Chargeback for all hosting consumption, public and private. That's the goal, right? It's really to empower our application teams to be stewards of the company's money.
And you obviously have a lot of plans for next year.
We do.
Yeah, it sounds like that. Do you have some thoughts like 5 years from today where you want to see FinOps in 5 years at Sysco?
I know Prasshant does. He's got a whole roadmap.
Yeah, FinOps with automation, definitely FinOps with AI. And Polly and I, we were discussing about the unit cost metrics implementation. This is something we will start looking into the very next quarter. What are those opportunities? What are those tools? And how we can implement that unit cost metrics management and implementation, because it definitely ties in with our, the cost per piece reduction. We did not get a chance to discuss with our CTO, and I'm sure, Justin would be very interested to talk about the unit cost metrics.
And Prasshant, when you say AI for FinOps, do you have any specific use case in mind that you say, okay, I need AI here to actually solve it?
Yes, that should be related to the chargeback, of course. Chargeback, we want to use AI with the chargeback solution and unit cost. So I have that in my mind, and we want to make sure every customer want to see their cost and billing data with transparency. And there should not be many reports, should be given to the leadership. So our goal is to centralize the reporting process as well. And we are intersecting with one of the discipline, the technical business management. That discipline also is under Poly. So we are partnering with them as well, and we are seeing, what capabilities of AI, Power BI we can leverage as we grow.
Yeah, and there's some automation and technology we're looking at. So we're going to the Nutanix platform, getting out of VMware in the United States. So we'll be going to that. One of the kind of the benefits of that is moving to an NC2 and using Nutanix really as kind of that single pane of glass to move workloads between cloud providers, whether it's private or or public. And, so we get a better deal with Google. We take our AWS and move it over to Google, things that are seamless to our application team. So for me, when I think of automation, I think of what are the things that I can do for my app team so they don't have to, so there's no excuse why they can't do it.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we build that intelligent placement in a way that our application teams don't have to do anything and it's invisible to them? Because really they should only care that their application is up, it's running, it's provided, there's no latency, it's providing the functionality and the features it's expected to provide. Where it sits shouldn't matter to them, right? It should be invisible to them. So really having the ability to switch in between cloud providers or in between placements automatically based on cost or consumption or whatever criteria you want to use. For me, that's in 3 years, if we're there, that would be amazing. But NC2 is one of the things that we'll be looking at for next year, now that once we'll have the Nutanix platform deployed in the US.
Listen, that's hell of a vision.
It is a hell of a vision. I know. It's exciting. It's exciting.
That's great. I feel I can talk to you like an hour more about FinOps, but we also have to be aware of time. And I definitely want to dedicate some time to also get to know you on the personal level. So, first of all, you both are based in Houston. Is that correct?
We are. Yes.
Great. And actually, this episode, I want to start with something new. That is asking my guests for a recommendation about a book or a movie. You can also do if you'd like. But Polly, why don't we start with you?
Well, I know when we chatted earlier, and I know this sounds silly, but the Minecraft movie, I just took my son to see it. It's really good. I thought it was going to be stupid. I wasn't looking for, it was really cute. It was a really good movie. So I would recommend the Minecraft movie for children and adults if you haven't seen it. My son is a dedicated Minecraft fanatic, so he was very excited to see it, but it was a very good show.
Yeah. It actually looks like a sensation. I've seen videos
It's
from
made a
the theater.
ridiculous amount of money. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, maybe I need to go. Actually, they're driving me crazy to take them to the Minecraft movie.
You should take
Maybe
them.
after your recommendation.
Yes.
Yeah, I should take them.
Yeah, you'll
Okay.
enjoy it.
Okay, will do. We'll report back. And Prashan, any recommendations from you?
Actually, my son, he went with his friends last week. He did not take his dad with him, but I would like to watch Minecraft as well. But my favorite movie is Pursuit of Happiness.
Wow.
That's my favorite movie of Will Smith. And I'm reading a book, Being Logical. Sometimes, I feel I'm too emotional about certain things, and I'm learning, as a leader. So I started reading that book, Being Logical.
Okay, I can think of a lot of people I would be happy to buy the book.
Yeah. I can think of some people we should send that book to.
Exactly. Great. And maybe we start with you, Prashan. What do you do for fun after work?
By the way, I won a music competition last weekend.
Wow, congrats.
Yes, and I'm a Bollywood singer. I used to sing in my college. So that was an opportunity last weekend. I did not discuss with Polly. So I won a first prize and I got a tablet.
Oh
and
my
music is
God.
my,
That's awesome.
favorite hobby. Whenever, I'm stressed out or whenever I'm not feeling about, good about certain things, I like to sing.
Yeah,
I listen music and I play certain instruments as well. So music is my hobby.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Prashant, I also love to sing, but no one else loves when I sing. I'm in a big issue there. And Polly, what about
I was
you?
gonna say we love music in our house too, and I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and that's kind of like we're on the concert circuit. So we've seen Taylor Swift twice, we've seen Gracie Abrams and Billie Eilish and Sabrina Carpenter. So it seems like just about every month it's another show. And so that's kind of that's our mother-daughter bonding time as we go to all these various concerts around the country. But it's been a blast. And I again was not a Taylor Swift fan before I saw her the first time. It was amazing. So the second time I really, really enjoyed it. And I am now very sad that the Eras tour is over. And if you didn't get a chance to go, it was an incredible, incredible performance.
Okay. Add it to my bucket
There you
list as
go.
well. By the time I finish the episode, I have plans for the year. Cool. And Polly and Prashant, if anyone from our listeners want to reach out to you or ask any questions, is the best way to reach out is LinkedIn?
LinkedIn would be great. And we are always happy to meet with folks. I think, Prashant has been great about networking and making sure that we're kind of plugged into all the local Houston events and resources. But I think for me, hearing other people's stories and the way they kind of have tackled problems, because it's regardless of what company you're in, they're pretty much it's the same stuff, right? It's the same challenges, it's the same people motivation, and just learning how others have navigated through it and how they've, what solutions they've used to get through some of this stuff is always for me is very interesting, and there's always something you can learn that you can bring back to your own company.
Great. And kudos for being part of the community and sharing and from the transparency. Prashant is coming to FinOps X, as you mentioned, so we'll meet a lot of other FinOps folks to share some knowledge with. Polly and Prashant, it's been amazing to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Elon. It was nice talking to you.
Of course, it was all my honor, and I also want to thank our audience for joining again, listening to the episode. I'm sure you learned a lot, at least as much as I learned this episode, and enjoyed it, at least as much as I enjoyed it. Polly and Prashant, thank you again for joining us. This has been another fascinating, fun episode of FinOps in Action. See you next time. That wraps up another episode of FinOps in Action. Thank you for joining. For show notes and more, please visit finopsinaction.com. This show is brought to you by Point 5, empowering teams to optimize cloud costs with deep detection and remediation tools that drive action.